All right. I know I haven't made a video in a really long time. Sorry about that. But this is going to be a review of the Starlight Phantom. As you can see, I will put a fair warning in this. Mine has been modded. I sent mine out to be modded. I'll put in the description the guy that did my mods. He did everything perfectly. And if you did see my original Starlight video, you will know I loved the mouse, but there were just some issues that they needed to fix. And they said that they fixed the issues, and this is basically going to be more or less of a update video because the Phantoms are basically the same mice, just different colorways. But will still go over the basic specs and all of that. So this is the box. Obviously the box is not the same as the first one. In the box you get a micro USB cable and the little puck thingy. We don't even need to really go over the wireless charging or the battery life and everything. Wireless, I think it's like rated for 160 hours or something like that. No issues with the battery life. Sensor performance, 3370, no issues. It performs just like how you would expect. Now, the main specs of this mouse, this is the small ultralight 2 shape. I will put the small and the medium sizes on the screen. The clicks have been updated from Omron 20Ms to Kale 8.0s, and the DPI button is significantly harder to press, but that doesn't really change anything. And they did say that they improved the structural integrity of the mouse, I guess you could say. I don't even know if that made sense. But yeah, so the first thing I want to look at is the clicks. So as I said, mine have been modded. I have ZMA switches in here, which are super light. I will give you a sound test, but I will also, so yeah, click, side buttons, scroll wheel. This has also been modded to a Japanese Alps encoder. So the first thing we're going to go over is the stock clicks. I do remember very vividly, I wasn't a huge fan of the stock experience of them. I don't think that the 8.0s really go well with the magnesium, but I pride them for even swapping off of Omrons. And that's a personal thing. That's going to be something that differs from person to person. But for the average person, I think that the 8.0s felt better than the 20Ms did, definitely. So that is an improvement. I do have a ton of wobble side to side, and on my stock, I had a ton of pre-travel and I had a ton of post-travel, and my right was considerably lighter than my left one was. But none of those really were performance issues. And a lot of them are easily fixable, which you shouldn't have to do on a $200 mouse, basically $189.99, but they are very fixable, and they didn't really give me an issue in game. They just didn't feel amazing, in my opinion. Now the side buttons, I think Finalmouse has always had amazing side buttons. I did get these, basically they put a piece of foil on the back of them to lock them in because they're not secured very well. And it gets rid of any rattle sound that happens when you go here, and then a lot of the travel. But once you do that, like, the side buttons are perfect. There's no pre or no post travel. Literally, they are the perfect side buttons in my opinion, and I think they're in the perfect place. Shape of this mouse is top 2 ever in my opinion, from the FK2 and the Ultralight 2. Those are my 2 favorite shapes of all time. I think it's just a perfect shape. Now the scroll wheel, the stock scroll wheel is not super tactile, and mine was so off-centered on this side to the point where it was scraping up against my click. Once modded, it is basically straight. Final Boy did say that eventually they'll look at the wheels, but he doesn't think that they're an issue right now, which I do believe that they're a huge issue, not being centered. But yeah. Now let's go on to just the overall aesthetics of the mouse. The overall aesthetics of the mouse, I personally really like the Phantom, and I like that they're doing different colorways and all of this, and even trying to improve the mice. But I still think there's a long way to go, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Now, talking about the feet are fine. You don't need to really swap them, but dots are on these because you have there's only 2 screw points, and with dots you have very easy access to the screw points whenever you need to take it apart or anything like that. I've had to take this one apart a lot of times. Micro USB, as I said, not an issue. If you complain about micro USB to USB-C, you just need to really grow up, honestly, in my opinion. 42 grams. Now, I saved that to say that because I think everybody knows that the small is about 42 grams, but because it's 42 grams and it's magnesium, that's something we haven't really ever seen before, obviously. And most 40-gram mice have really bad build quality. Now, the original Starlight had really bad QC, and my copy had really bad build quality. The structural feeling on this mouse is flawless. There's no budging, there's no creaking, there's no flexing. There was some on the base plate, but nobody's really pressing there to begin with. And yeah. One thing I would say is this was modded in mine, so the battery is in the back stock, and you can move it up to the middle to help out the weight balancing, and it does help. I wish they would just put the thing in the middle. I don't know why they don't do that, but it's whatever. Now, it is a very small mouse. Obviously, here is a size comparison to a bigger mouse like the G703. Obviously, it literally devours it. And here's it next to a Death Adder V2 Mini. I just really think that the Ultralight 2 is like the perfect shape, in my opinion, for me at least. It's amazing. And a few special things is you do get a special number on the bottom. I don't even know if you can see this very vaguely. You do get like a special number on the bottom. Out of this one is 9,743 out of 25,000. So that is pretty cool. I don't think there's a ton to talk about. You do feel the ridges in the clicks, but I think there are some things that they could definitely improve on. But the stock, I think the build quality has gotten better, and it's not as creaky and as cheap feeling, I don't think, which I do pride them on. But there are a lot of things that they could work on. A few of those are the scroll wheel. The scroll wheel needs to go. The whole thing. They need to scrap the whole scroll wheel. It feels terrible. It's always off-centered on most copies. It's just a bad scroll wheel. It feels really, really bad. And they need to secure the side buttons better, because a lot of the side buttons have a ton of travel, and they make like this little pingy, like this sound from the G703. Something like that, when you scrape on the sides right here, they need to secure them a little bit better, because it wasn't a hard fix and it made them feel considerably better. And I think another thing that they need to do is fix, I don't know how, like every copy I've seen has had a ton of side to side movement. I know that's forcing it, but you still do feel it in game. And that's something that I think those are three things that need to be fixed, especially on a $189.99 mouse. But I do like that they are making strides and are trying to improve. That's really my opinion. Which it should be a perfect mouse for $189.99, but yeah. I mean, that's really the end of this video. I think that this is a huge improvement over the original Phantom, and I hope more improvements like this come. But my stock experience was not very good, but that was just my copy, and from a lot of the copies I've seen, the QC has been considerably better. But that's going to be the end of this video. To sum it up, I think there's still a long way to go to make this a perfect mouse, but they are making strides to make it better, which I do like. But there's a long way to go. But I mean, most of it is fixable with mods. But that's going to end this video. Peace.